peacefully in his sleep, not screaming like all the passengers in his car. That was a quote from Will Rogers. Politicians and diapers must be changed often and for the same reason. That was from Mark Twain. If toast always lands butter side down and cats always land on their feet, what happens if you strap toast on the back of a cat and drop it? That's a quote from Stephen Wright. Expecting the world to treat you fairly because you are a good person is a little like expecting the bull not to attack you because you are a vegetarian. That's a quote from Dennis Holy. Life is hard. It's harder if you're stupid. It's a quote from John Wayne. The surest sign that intelligent life exists elsewhere in the universe is that it has never tried to contact us. That was a quote from Bill Watterson. Here's something to think about. How come you never see a headline like Psychic Wins Lottery? That's a quote from Jay Leno. The road to success is always under construction. It's a quote from Lily Tomlin. We spend the first 12 months of our children's lives teaching them to walk and talk, and the next 12 telling them to sit down and shut up. It's a quote from Phyllis Diller. Always borrow money from a pessimist. He won't expect it back. It's a quote from Oscar Wilde. Politics. Poly, a Latin word meaning many, and ticks, meaning blood-sucking creatures. That's a quote from Robin Williams. People who think they know everything are a great annoyance to those of us who do. It's a quote from Isaac Asimov. To steal ideas from one person is plagiarism. To steal from many is research. It's a quote from Stephen Wright. A computer once beat me at chess, but it was no match for me at kickboxing. It's a quote from Emo Phillips. A day without sunshine is like, night. It's a quote from Steve Martin. By the time a man realizes that his father was right, he has a son who thinks he's wrong. It's a quote from Charles Wadsworth. Money is not everything, but it ranks right up there with oxygen. That's a quote from Zig Ziglar. If you want your children to listen, try talking softly to someone else. It's a quote from Ann Landers. Never under any circumstances take a sleeping pill and a laxative on the same night. It's a quote from Dave Bowery. It's because you'll fall asleep pooping. If the black box flight recorder is never damaged during a plane crash, why isn't the whole airplane made out of that stuff? It's a quote from George Carlin. The road to success is dotted with many tempting parking spaces. It's a quote from Will Rogers. A bank is a place that will lend you money if you can prove that you don't need it. It's a quote from Bob Hope. When you go into court, you are putting your fate into the hands of 12 people who aren't smart enough to get out of jury duty. It's a quote from Norm Crosby. He who laughs last didn't get the joke. It's a quote from Charles de Gaulle. By working faithfully 8 hours a day, you may eventually get to be boss and work 12 hours a day. It's a quote from Robert Frost. I've never worked out what the moral of Humpty Dumpty is. I can only think of, don't sit on a wall if you're an egg. It's a quote from Ricky Gervais. A great pleasure in life is doing what people say you cannot do. It's a quote from Walter Bagehot. Progress isn't made by early risers. It's made by lazy men trying to find easier ways to do something. It's a quote from Robert A. Heinlein. When you go to work, if your name is on the building, you're rich. If your name is on your desk, you're middle class. And if your name is on your shirt, you're poor. It's a quote from Rich Hall. Why do they call it rush hour when nothing moves? It's a quote from Robin Williams. As a child, my family's menu consisted of 2 choices, take it or leave it. It's a quote from Buddy Hackett. I drink to make other people more interesting. It's a quote from Ernest Hemingway. The only way to keep your health is to eat what you don't want, drink what you don't like, and do what you'd rather not. It's a quote from Mark Twain. Son, if you really want something in life, you have to work for it. Now quiet. They're about to announce the lottery numbers. It's a quote from Matt Groening. Eagles may soar, but weasels don't get sucked into jet engines. It's a quote from Stephen Wright. The man who smiles when things go wrong has thought of someone to blame it on. It's a quote from Robert Bloch. If at first you don't succeed, so much for skydiving. It's a quote from Henny Youngman. I intend to live forever. So far, so good. Stephen Wright said that. That was from www.azquotes.com. And then it's probably under the funny section. Thanks for listening. Be sure to click like, subscribe, watch, and follow on all of my social media platforms, and be sure to write reviews on my audible.com audiobooks. Thanks. Bye.